Okay, welcome back to the late edition on Lagos Talks 91.3. My name is Obi, and right about now, you're in the segment I like to call the chat room, where we just talk about pretty much anything. It happens from Mondays to Fridays, but it always has a different twist every day. You know how it is, especially if you're regular on the show. But yes, you're welcome to the chat room. Like I mentioned earlier on when I opened up the show, I have a guest with me. I did hint a little bit about things that she's involved in, just a little bit, but you get to know more about her when she does speak. Yeah, but my guest is a powerhouse in the Nigerian legal sector. My guest has carved an impressive path as a corporate lawyer and an entrepreneur, basically championing ethical governance and reshaping the country's financial landscape. So my guest is a Master of Law from the London School of Economics with more than 25 years of expertise in mergers, acquisition, and corporate law, playing key roles at Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC. So we have that. My guest is also a top figure in the Nigerian Bar Association, International Bar Association, and Institute of Directors Nigeria, who not only upholds ethical standards but also excels in financial leadership, and with a dynamic law firm specializing in capital markets and corporate commercial law, basically reflecting her sharp entrepreneurial insights addressing the unique demands of Nigeria's business environment. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Mrs. Ifeoma Lillian Esiri. Good evening, man.
Good evening.
How you doing, man? Good to have you in the studio with me.
I'm very, very, very happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, honestly, it's good to have you. Honestly, thank you, to be honest, because it's an honor, honestly, to have you, join my show tonight and just come and talk to people. But yes, this is the chat room. Basically, we're spotlighting you tonight. We just want to know a few things about you. As much as you can tell us within the time that we are able to do so. Yeah. But, let's just pretty much get into it. There are a couple of things that I want to know. I believe, yes, like I said, you studied law, a Master of Law at that. And I know that you even do have a law firm. But what I want to know is, you obviously, I believe that at this point, you don't personally handle cases. But you probably did at some point, definitely have, with over 25 years of experience. I just want to know, if you don't mind telling me, why exactly at what point did you say, you know what, let me actually leave it to my company. Let me stop taking cases personally, if you don't mind I just want to know that about you.
I mean, my practice of law is way in the past.
Yes, I know that.
I stopped any kind of active legal work in 2010. So that's like 14 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
So I can't remember asking me anything about law.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's fine. That's absolutely okay. I just thought to, just probably get a little background about it. But that's really great. But, it's also absolutely impressive to see that, you're a director for quite a number of companies in Nigeria, like I mentioned earlier, especially because they're from different industries. Even, for the fact that over time, one thing that is really great to see is that you've been active, you've been in that active position that you hold in these companies. It's very obvious that you're doing well. I just want to know, how have you been able to find that balance? Because this is quite a lot of work, I can believe. And, it's the fact that you've definitely been doing this well. And just for the sake of, people that are listening, just a lot of people struggle with finding balance with the different things they do. So I just want, especially it would be best to hear from someone like you on how to just pretty much find a balance in doing a lot of things. So how do you actually do that?
I think if you prioritize, so if you're involved in a lot of things, but some would be of greater importance than others. So if you start from there, and you know that this area is an area that is going to take up quite a bit of my time.
Yeah.
And this area is not going to take so much of my time. Then you just split your time between those things. So if you're navigating 3, 4, 5, 6 different things. Every single one of them has a certain amount of prominence that requires your attention.
Okay,
so
yeah, true.
You spread your time amongst the 6 things with respect to how important each of them is.
Okay. All right, so that's good. But right about now, I want us to now talk about one of your babies, Zaccheus Onumba Dibiaezue Memorial Libraries. It's quite the establishment that you co-founded. I believe it was founded back in 1998. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
1999.
1999. Okay, that's really great. But I just want to know, how was that like? What, coming up with that idea? I believe you had some other people that you did come up with it, but what was that like? Especially it's something that is doing a lot of great things now. Seeing how far you've come, but taking a look at where it all started, what was it like back then?
Well, I mean, everything grows. We started with just a little library on Awolowo Road, and it was really from the idea of wanting a memorial for Zaccheus, my father, Onumba Dibiaezue. Okay. It was the 25th anniversary of his death, and we felt 25 was a landmark number. And we said, okay, how do we mark that event? And we said, well, my father was someone who he was didactic. He was self-taught.
Wow, nice.
And the most effective tool for teaching yourself is a library. And way back then, the internet and Google and search engines were nascent.
Yeah.
You didn't, there weren't too many, and one didn't really know how to use them properly. So a library was really what we felt would be something that would speak to his legacy. So we started the library, just the one little library there, and we very quickly saw the impact it was having, the people coming there, and we then felt that there were a couple of schools around the area, and the kids were coming, but the space was small. So we said, well, you know what? Let's just put little libraries in their schools. Then that way we can stem the number of children that actually come to use our space. Because our space was quite small, and so that took us into putting up libraries in local government primary schools, and then we're very near Ikoyi prison, and we felt that prisoners were a prison is an enclosed community, and we found out that the National Open University was running courses for prisoners, and prisoners could register and continue their learning. And so we felt that, let's just add a library there to boost that. And we've got testimonies from prisoners who graduated through the Open University system.
That's really great, honestly. That's absolutely great, going to see how far it's come, especially being very inclusive, understanding that even though, like, the prisoners, they might be unfortunately behind bars, but they still are human beings that could still advance in life. Coming to terms that, okay, yes, I did do bad things, especially all of them, but there's a lot that life still has to offer, especially knowing that someday I'm going to get out there again. So it's a really great thing. That
and the thing about the prison is that, as a matter of fact, about more than 0.5% of the population in prison are awaiting trial. So they haven't actually been found guilty. Yeah,
that's also one thing.
Yeah, they're waiting trial, and their life has kind of like been truncated. Yeah, and some of them were at various stages of learning and educating themselves. So we felt that was a useful thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely, very, very good move, because like you mentioned, some of them are waiting trial. It's rather unfortunate that even a lot of them are innocent of crimes that they just unfortunately fell victim of. If we've heard a lot of stories, but that's just
wrong time.
Yeah, but that's conversation for that's conversation for another day, really. But, back to conversation about your library, Zero DML. So I know that a lot of people go to libraries, but, in comparison of the number of people to the population of Nigeria, well, you pretty much say it's low, but it's not a good thing. I do agree, but it's definitely something that I believe it's a concern of yours and pretty much every other person that has a library. But what I want to know is, have you just been able to pretty much sustain the presence of Zero DML over the years? Because I know it's been up for at least well over 24 years, about 25, 26 years. So definitely for you to last that long, there's been a lot of things that you have been doing that has been able to just ensure that, like, I know you've mentioned a few, but what are these other things that you've really done that, that just made it good and absolutely keep growing?
You mean the library?
Yes.
Well, I mean, when you think about a library, you think a library is the most expensive item of any library are the books. Without books, you don't have a library. So we've been very fortunate in the general Nigerian populace. We've over the years we've had many people, organizations, individuals donate books, new books, old books, in between books,
Yeah.
So that is something that is continuously happening for us.
Yeah.
So once we keep getting the books, we find the money just to cover the books up and then push it out to either a library or donate it to other organizations that are doing similar things.
Okay.
So it's just the books. We get the books, and once we keep getting the books, we'll be able to keep setting up libraries, opening up libraries.
Okay, that's great. Well, speaking about setting up libraries, give or take, like, how many have you been able to, put up? I know that there's, you recently just launched a very interesting library, and we'll get into that. And I saw that it's very great. It promises to even spread around Nigeria, because it is a partner with Nigerian Library. But how many libraries are pretty much have been established by Zero DML in Nigeria?
I think 34.
Oh wow!
And they're all in either prisons or local government primary schools.
Oh, okay. That doesn't include the e-library that
no
is like pretty much the biggest in Nigeria.
The online library is
it's
an
online
platform,
yeah.
and we have people from China, people from
I can imagine.
India, all over the place that register to use it.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, that's great. That's actually really good. So yeah, let's now also talk about, like I mentioned, Green Library that you recently launched. I know that it's definitely a great plan, but I want you to just talk to us about it. What is the idea of Green Library?
Well, it's a collaboration we entered into with the National Library of Nigeria.
Yes. And
the interesting thing for us was that the National Library of Nigeria, from the act that enabled it, I think is mandated to have a presence in each state. So you would find a National Library branch in the capital of most states, and I think they have about 32 or 33, including FCT. So we thought that we're in Lagos. Obviously, we don't have the bandwidth to go across the nation to all their branches everywhere. But we said, if we start in Lagos and do something with the Lagos branch of the National Library, and if we do it well, it's something that jointly us and the National Library can showcase and say, let this be replicated. That this after maybe about 6 months, 9 months, a year, we would have data to show its impact for on the community where it's located. And we're hoping that we'll be able to say, this is what it is, this is what it this is what it has done, this is what it can do, and these are the results of that. And so we're saying that why can't it be replicated in all the other branches that the National Library has? Because the thing about the National Library is that it is already a library that's open to the public, and so it will always be open. The difficulty we have had with the libraries we've
worked with,
with the libraries we've established,
okay,
is that they have been in closed communities.
Okay.
So prisons are closed communities.
Yeah.
It's just the prisoners.
Yeah.
A school is a closed community. It's just the
students,
pupils.
Yes.
People from other schools can't go and use the library.
Yes, exactly.
So it was very limiting, very, very limiting. But with this partnership with the National Library, the library itself is open to everybody from everywhere, and it's free. And it's a functioning library, so it was a more appealing and a more sustainable model to pursue. So that's what we're looking to try to expand on, and we're saying to people that we don't have the bandwidth to go across the nation. But if you're from, what state are you from?
I'm from Imo State.
So you're from Imo State. The National Library has a branch in Owerri or somewhere in Imo State. So you can come up with a lot of your friends and go and do stuff.
To be honest,
create. No, it's seriously.
Wonderful, Mom. And to be honest, because I like going to the library. Matter of fact, I do go to, the Zero DML library on Awolowo Road here. I know that it's really great, but, it's something good to actually literally go with friends and just, enjoy a wonderful time. Just get informed at the very least, because it's really a great place to just get.
Or become an advocate. You see, in Nigeria, we talk a lot about Nigerians don't have a reading culture. And I think you said something about there not being that Nigerians don't go to don't visit libraries.
Yeah, not a lot of people do visit, but in comparison to the population of Nigeria, it's not a lot.
Yes, but you see that there's a paradox there. Why is there no reading culture? There's no reading culture because there are no libraries. Why are people not going to libraries? People like to go to libraries. Why are they not going to libraries? But where are the libraries? You have to. A library is something in every in every country, every jurisdiction. A library is not something that is a corporate enterprise. A library is a public institution. Libraries everywhere are set up by local governments, federal governments. The New York Public Library, which is a great place I visited quite a couple of times, is the state of New York that's established, and they're constantly cutting budget. They're constantly asking for people, citizens, to donate so that they can keep their doors open and continue to serve the citizens of New York. The British Library is the British government, so. A library is something that must be, even if as a private organization you set up a library, you can't sustain it without input from the government. You just can't.
I agree.
So that's the paradox we have, because there are very few libraries, because there isn't a reading culture. There are very few libraries, and because there are very few libraries, there isn't. And that you don't have an advocacy for the proliferation of libraries, because it's just not in people's psyche.
I totally understand.
Yeah, you're not thinking libraries because they're not there. So you just shrug your shoulders and say, okay, there's no libraries. There's no libraries.
I agree with you, because I know how excited I was, honestly, discovering, Zero DMO Library, because I thought about it earlier in my life, when I was a bit younger. I thought about how that is a challenge, really, because growing up, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't big on reading, but I knew that whenever I went to the library, I would try to make sure that I get work done, because that's the whole point of being in a library. I did back in it was in secondary school that I really did understand that yes, I should be going to the library often, and then when I got into university, I did realize that. But when I got out of university, I didn't really get access or find out that, okay, yes, I didn't do a lot of research in my defense, but I know that that's a problem because that reading culture is not really a major thing in Nigeria, and it's something that a lot of people we need to tackle. We really genuinely need to tackle. But
you can never have a reading culture without libraries. It's just not possible.
Exactly.
It's not possible.
I agree. Yeah. So it's a really great thing that you're doing. But also, I wanted to ask, because I did, from what I found, the Green Library is supposed to be for children and youth. But it was almost as though you said that it's open to pretty much everyone. Or is it just the Green Library exactly? Is it just for children, or is it like anyone that can go there and make use of it?
Well, I mean, it's open for everyone, but why would you go and you're reading ABC book?
Oh, okay, because when I saw the article, that was put out by Vanguard, I believe, it did say it was for children between the range, or
4 to 17.
4 to 17. Yes, so that's why I was
it's for 4 to 17, and therefore the content of the library is for that demographic.
Okay. So
the books there are books for ages 4 to 17. I mean, you could argue that from 15, 16, 17, you could pretty much read any adult book. But you're not going to read. You're not going to start studying Einstein. And you're not going to start doing any kind of heavy doctorate research.
Yeah. I understand.
And we are not really. We just want fun books there. We just want. The whole point is to get the child reading, and we're not piling it up with Dickens and Shakespeare and I mean, these are great books that kids will get to read when they're ready to read it, but we're not pushing it down their throats. We have a lot of those books, not in physical. Not in paper form, but in e-form, because we also offer the library. Also, we have e-readers and tablets.
Okay.
So we have a lot of e-books, and the kids can read all these classics, which is important for anybody that is a reader. But they can read it. They can read it electronically because the space is limited. We want the paper books, the books that the kids can charge out and come and want it to be kind of like easy, simple, fun books. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we've been very deliberate in terms of the books we get there. So we want at least 70. We want at least 70% of the books to be books by firstly Nigerians, secondly Africans, and then thirdly Black authors, whether it's Caribbean or Black African American, because these are people that look like them. These are people that they understand.
Exactly, that's the word that came to my mind. They understand.
So we're deliberate in that regard in terms of acquisitions. And then finally, it's a green library because we felt that it would be a great thing if we're able to have these kids coming in and focus on the environment. So we're also going to try to get a significant number of books there that deal with the environment, climate change, recycle, sustainability, deforestation, all of that. And because we want to walk the talk or talk the walk, I don't know how the phrase goes, but we have decided that we have to be the good example of what we're saying. So the library is powered by solar energy.
Oh wow, that's great.
The flooring is made out of recycled tires. Wow. All the seating is tree trunks. Tree stubs. The shelves are all wood, and because it's kids, we want it to be fun. It has a mascot, and the mascot is the Turako bird, and the Turako bird is a bird that is significant in terms of the environment, because it eats fruits, and it always swallows the seed.
Okay.
And it doesn't digest the seed. So the seed leaves its body and it drops on the floor, and that's how your forests grow.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually,
So we made the Turako bird the library's mascot. In the library, we have very, very nice images of it, and it's a fun place for kids.
That's great. I do agree. But yes, if you're just tuning in, this is the late edition on Lagos Talks 91.3. It is the chat room, and I have with me the co-founder of Zaccheus Onumba Dibiaezue Memorial Libraries, ZODML, in the studio. And yes, we're just talking about Green Library that has just pretty much been launched for the public. It's really great to see all the things. I really liked the idea of enlightening children about, the climate and sustainability. I did like the fact that, everything that has been involved, because I personally am big on waste management, because back in school, that was what my project was on, converting scrap tire to construction materials. So when I saw that, I was like, that's actually great. And I can't wait to visit, this library. But one thing that I also really did like, and I thought about, it's like maybe a futuristic plan, because, in this Nigeria, I know you said that, someone going there might not necessarily want to read a book on, for kids. But seeing that a lot of the books are centered on, educating people on deforestation, sustainability, and these things are also, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's something that is mostly taught in schools, primary schools, secondary schools, but they are not, I won't say it's in a lot of people's minds. They don't know these things. So I don't think it would even be bad for older people who would actually want to get to know more about these things, to go there and read those books. I believe that that's not a bad thing. And another thing I thought that's also great is it can also, in a way, improve parent-children relationship in such a way that they can take their children there, teach them, read the books with them, improve that. It's a really wonderful plan. I love the fact that it's open to everyone.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, that 4 to 17, I'd have loved to be there, because but now seeing that I can go there, I'm definitely gonna go there.
It is open to everyone, and I mean, a 4, 5, 6-year-old child is not likely to be going there on their own. Anyway, they're
yes,
likely
exactly.
to have their parents coming with them. Anybody can walk into it. It's the premises is the National Library's premises. The National Library cannot discriminate in people who use their facilities, and we would not discriminate either. Our library on Awolowo Road is open to everyone. Open to everyone as well.
Yeah, I would know that. But yes, that's just really great, and it's really nice. So I can't wait to be, just be there and experience how it is, seeing all those wonderful things. But yes, if you're listening, you can join the conversation. You can send in messages on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number is 0809 234 5913. Okay, so sending messages and be a part of this one that is happening right here on your home of conversations. I am going to go on a very short break, very, very brief, but I'll be back in about a minute. But don't go anywhere. This is the chat room on Lagos Talks 91.3. All right, welcome back to the chat room on your favorite radio station, Lagos Talks 91.3. My name is Obi, and with me in the studio, I've had with me in the studio for quite some time now, a couple of minutes, the co-founder of ZODML, Mrs. Ifeoma Lillian Esiri. We've been having quite the conversation. It's been great, and I just love how the wonderful thing that ZODML is doing. And I just also want for you to tell us a bit more, because this is a wonderful thing that you're done for the public. Honestly, Green Library, like we're talking about. But I believe that there's probably some other things that the library also does. In terms of projects, in terms of events. Like I know there's this poetry challenge that you do, and that's also a very great thing to give to the public as well. And I'm sure there are a couple other ones. So, if you don't mind telling us a bit more about some other things that you've done and believe probably even upcoming, because I want to believe maybe that poetry challenge is coming up again soon, because I know it's supposed to be a recurring event. So, what other events does
the poetry challenge is an annual event, so
yes.
it will be coming up this year in October.
Okay, that's great.
And we're really looking forward to that. The one we had last year was very successful.
I agree.
And the 5 poets that were the top five finalists went on to do a lot of other things, so that was really great.
Yeah, it's true. They were even here at some point. They came on.
Yeah,
now that I remember, they actually came here sometime. Yeah,
exactly. And we also connect with authors, and we get them to come and discuss their books with state schools, children, state secondary school children, and local government primary school children. So we would get an author, would get copies of the author's book. We'll get about 26 children, and we would give them the books and bring the author and the kids together and have a discussion about the books. And that's really it's great for the author, because he actually has an opportunity to
have a review session. Is that perhaps what it's
just to know how people respond to his work.
Okay, yeah.
And it's good for the children, because if you're reading a book, you actually see the author of the book. It brings the book more alive to you.
You have some questions you can ask.
You can ask a lot of questions, and they do, and they challenge characters, and they want to know why somebody died and why somebody didn't get married and all that sort of thing. And we ask them to, just as a form of exercise, we ask them to rewrite the end of the story, and the author gets to really say, "Oh yes, okay,
that's not a bad idea."
Yeah. So it's fun for both the kids and the author. So that's something that we also do.
That's really great, actually. That's absolutely great. I'm just amazed, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. I can believe that's really great. But at this time I need to open up the phone lines, okay? Because I believe a couple of people listening might have a question or two to ask you. So if you are listening and you want to join the conversation, feel free to call in. The phone lines are officially open. 0809-234-5913. You can also call that number on WhatsApp, sending messages, voice notes, or just calling. Another of our call lines you can use to be a part of the conversation is 0201-515-0913. Let's take a phone call. Hello, Lagos Talks. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening to you. What is your name? Wait, this is Colette, right?
Yes. Colette.
Good evening, Colette. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I could be asking you how you doing.
I'm doing great. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
For today.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like I mentioned earlier when I opened the show, we did have issues that unforeseen circumstances, but no need to worry. We're back on full. So, but yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to actually comment, yes, and what they're doing.
Okay.
Because actually, you listen to me, right?
Yes, she's listening. She can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Good evening, sir.
Did you say she? It's.
It sounds like a man, but I'm so sorry.
No.
Sorry.
she's a woman.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm really glad about this, because personally I'm a very, very good reader.
Okay.
I love to read books and materials and everything. But the problem now that we have is people that can access your ebooks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I believe so you're asking on how to access the ebooks?
Yes.
Okay.
Because personally I read on this particular app I don't want.
Okay, we don't need that information, but yeah, okay, carry on.
Yes, but that particular app, we have a lot of writers and incomplete work and everything. So sometimes it's just discourages people that want to read because of
limitation.
Mistakes and everything.
Okay.
So I want to ask that this looks like a very, very reliable source, to read and everything, but how to access, how much effort and pay into making it more accessible to everybody.
Okay. All right. I believe Mrs. Ifeoma is going to respond to that, but thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the conversation.
But you should keep up the good work, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I prefer reading a book online or on my phone than reading it.
Okay. All right. So she would respond to you, so you can just listen from your radio set. Okay. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
I'm so sorry, Mao. That was a very big mistake, and I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. We're all children of God.
Hallelujah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes. So she.
Okay. So, how to get ebooks or our ebooks? If you go online to zodml.org, that's Z for Zulu, O for Oscar, D for Delta, M for Mother, and L for Lima.org. If you go there, you would see where it says, when you get to the home page, there will be something that tells you to join the library. And if you click on it and just follow the prompts, and once you've read, once you've joined the library, it just opens up the ebooks we have there. You can just start clicking on what you start browsing and start clicking on the ones that you would like to read, and it's all free. You download it onto your device, or you read online if you have if you have Wi-Fi, or if you're somewhere with Wi-Fi. But everything is free.
Okay, that's really great, honestly, because I know that can be a challenge a lot of times when you want to read books, having access to free books, because everybody loves free things. So knowing that, that Zero DML does offer this wonderful service of giving free access to books, it's a really great thing. So thank you, Colette, for calling in.
But there's no reason why knowledge shouldn't be free.
Exactly, actually. There's no reason why. To be honest, I do like that you had to add that in. But yes, if you want to join the conversation, you're absolutely welcome to still call in. And we still have a few more minutes before we wrap things up. 0809-234-5913. Okay? You can also call 0201-515-0913. And also 0201-515-1913. But there's another question I actually want to ask you, Ma. Like you mentioned, and it's a fact, the reading culture that is not so existent, or it is, but it's almost as though it's non-existent. So everyone, okay, I won't say everyone, but a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people are listening, and mostly Nigerians, and we know that this is a problem. So what kind of advice would you give people that are listening to understand the importance of prioritizing the need to go to a library? I know that you've pretty much said it, from all that you said, but, just a nutshell summary advice, especially also because a few people are just tuning in right now, and it'll be great for them to just hear that. What are those things? Convince me that, you must go to the library to read your books and, just do your research.
No, that's
okay. Not must. Yes, you can't force it. No,
that's not the point. That's not the point. That's not what the advocacy should be.
Okay.
The advocacy should be saying that there must be a library in every local government area. Not go to a library, because I've said it. There are, what we need to do is to start making the noise about where are the libraries. There must be libraries. Let's get libraries. We have to advocate for the proliferation of libraries. That is what we must do. It's not tell people you must go to a library. Then I say, okay, yes, which one? Which library? The National Library has challenges. They have challenges. A lot of their shelves are empty. I've been to a couple. The state libraries have challenges. A lot of their shelves are empty. So what you would find is that a lot of these state and national libraries are just reading rooms. So you take your own
material, your laptop.
You have your backpack which has your notes, what you want to study. Your exam is coming up. You have your notes, what you want to study, and all of that, and you go into a national library or you go into a state library with that. You sit down and you study that. So it's not the advice is not go to a library. The advice is insist on the creation of libraries. Once those libraries are there, people will go. People are going to reading rooms. People are going to Lagos State has libraries all over the place. Every single one you go to, you would see somebody. The National Library in Yaba, any day you go there, you would see people in studying with the stuff they brought in there. So a lot of these libraries have reading rooms. The thing is now to advocate that they should expand into actually having functioning libraries where books are there that can be charged out, and people don't have to just go there to study. People can just go there and get the latest book from whoever author they've been hearing about and they've been wanting to read that person's book. I think that's the conversation we should have.
Okay,
and that and that is what we should insist on.
I agree. And speaks, because that is the conversation that we should be having, especially thinking about establishing a lot more libraries, because if it's in your face, especially when it's so close to you in your local government area, you would want to, at the very least, once in a while, going. But now I'm thinking about, okay, we want to believe perhaps we've convinced some people to start up libraries. There are a lot of people that are probably listening that are capable enough to start up some libraries in different parts of Nigeria. They definitely would want to hear from someone like you. What are those challenges that you might encounter that you need to just bear in mind or prepared for? So that's like another advice that pretty much the last thing that I want to ask. What kind of advice would you give somebody who is trying to start up libraries in Nigeria, understanding the situation of things, and how to just steer through?
I think I think there are two major challenges and difficulties. First of all, the books. As I said, a library is a room full of books.
Yes, I agree.
So you'd have to get the books, and then secondly is the personnel to run it, the manage. There aren't too many. There aren't too many knowledgeable librarians. We have known that to be a very serious challenge. And so, if you to start a library, and you have the resources, you probably would be able to buy the books. And if you have the resources, you probably would be able to poach a librarian from somewhere. If it's a university library, or if it's some other. I mean, I think most people poach them from university libraries and libraries from established schools. But if you're able to get those two things together, then the finish line is not far away.
Yeah, it's in sight. Okay, that's really great. Thank you so much for answering that. So, I think this is pretty much where we'll wrap things up. For those that might want to ask further questions, I believe there's a way people can contact the library, especially to know how they can have access to maybe one that could probably be in their area. So, perhaps share some form of contact details, your email or a phone number or social media handles that people can use to make sure they can, get access to this library. Because I'm sure a lot of people have these questions, and because of the sake of time, we cannot take so many more phone calls right about now, anyone at this point. So, please.
So the website zodml.org has all the information, and there's also a part of the site that says contact us.
Okay.
And there's a form you put your name and you send it off, and we would contact you from the information you send to us.
Okay.
So I think that's really that's the easiest and the quickest and the best way
to get
go
into
about it. Yes, zodml.org.
Okay, that's really great, to be honest, because anything you want to do, even if you want to partner, you want to just come up with some great events that would just give to the communities around Nigeria or the world, if whatever impact it would be, you just go to www.zodml.org. Yes, and you can get all the information that you need. Okay. All right, so this is where we have to wrap things up. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ifeoma, for coming. I really do appreciate you. I hope I didn't take so much of your time, even though, I believe this was a good time. It was a good conversation. So thank you so very much for coming through. And maybe we'll have some other day for you to come back and talk about some other things that you're involved in, if that would be great by you. Or maybe some other time that ZeroDML does something great that would be worth, spotlighting. Would love to have you coming again, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, ma. Okay, thank you, Lagos. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, Planet Earth, for tuning in to tonight's edition of The Chat Room. Happens Mondays to Fridays right here on your favorite radio station, Lagos Talks 91.3. This is where I have to wrap things up on The Chat Room, but I'll be back real soon. Okay, so do stick around. This is Lagos Talks 91.3.
If you want to be a part of us, first off, follow us across all social media pages at Lagos Talks 913 is our handle. And of course, kindly like, share, subscribe, and make sure you're a part of the Lagos Talks family.